Well, there's a lot of different ways to do that. People be creeping up in these parts. What's up, Internet? Humans, denizens of the planet under which we are currently locked down. My name, if you didn't already know, is Riley Evans. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, visiting my channel. We're gonna learn all about health, fitness, nutrition, things of that nature. Today, I wanna talk to y'all about something. If you check over here, it's a beautiful day outside. I would frankly be out there myself if there was literally anywhere left in the world to sit down and talk to a camera. But there isn't, because of that hashtag quarantine life. All of the seating in the area around my condo is currently gone. So we're making do. We're sitting outdoors adjacent to talk to you about something that a lot of people do on the outside, and that is cardio. We're gonna talk all about cardio, what it is, what it isn't, how cardio can contribute to you being the healthiest and happiest version of yourself, and most importantly, how can you integrate cardio into your everyday or regular routine when you're not currently engaged in it all and you're living a very sedentary life. So first things first, what is cardio, strictly speaking? Now, I know a lot of people, when they hear the word cardio, the first image that comes into their heads is this idea of a fleet of marginally to moderately unhappy humans in a poorly lit, filthy gym somewhere, grinding out 45 minutes an hour or whatever you have on an elliptical for the purpose of losing weight. Now, there's a lot of problems with that, and first and foremost, the biggest problem that's been created by a lot of the content that we consume on a daily basis related to health and fitness and nutrition is this association with cardio and weight loss. You want to lose body fat, you do cardio. And while yes, cardio is an efficient means of increasing your daily caloric expenditure because it requires constant motion for the most part, so you're always burning energy. That's not what we deal with here on this channel. We're all about having you be the healthiest, happiest version of yourself at whatever size that is. We're not concerned with you losing body fat unless your explicit goal, for whatever good reasons you may have, is to lose body fat. Right now we're talking about general health. And general health is actually the #1 benefit of cardio. You see, cardio is short for cardiac or cardiovascular. Both things have to do with the heart or the heart and lungs, your cardiovascular system. And that is fundamentally the #1, #2, and #3, and #4 benefits of cardiovascular exercise, of cardio, is the fact that it strengthens your heart and your lungs. Now, the strength of your heart and lungs have a lot of positive effects on your bodily health and even your life expectancy that you won't necessarily notice on a day-to-day basis. But engaging in regular cardiovascular exercise does actually have tangible benefits on your day-to-day existence. So what cardio does is it almost serves as resistance training for your heart. Remember, your heart is fundamentally a muscle. I know we mentally group it off with organs like your brain, your spleen, your gallbladder, things of that nature, but it is a muscle. It functions by contracting and then expanding, specifically for the purpose, in the case of the heart, for pumping blood throughout your body. So what cardiovascular exercise does for your heart is it exposes it to a healthy, absorbable stress, a stimulus that then causes your heart and lungs to grow stronger so that they can better cope with stresses like that in the future. And as you progress forward and forward and you continue to engage in more intense cardiovascular exercise and thus put greater and greater stresses on your heart, it eventually increases your heart and lungs maximum output to the point that your regular day-to-day tasks, like walking up the stairs or carrying things to and from your vehicle, little things like that, become easier for your body to do because it's so much of a smaller percentage of your maximum output ability, and because your heart is stronger and is capable of exerting itself at a much higher level. Fundamentally, the stronger your heart is in pumping blood and getting oxygen to the various parts of your body, the easier that moving around in the world in your day-to-day life is going to be. So now that we've established that cardiovascular exercise has clear benefits for the regular average day-to-day existence of humans, so now that we've established that cardiovascular exercise has clear, tangible benefits for the day-to-day existence of regular old humans like us, how do we go from living a sedentary lifestyle to integrating cardio into our regular routine? Well, there's a lot of ways to go about doing that, and they're all based on whatever the particular circumstances you exist in are. One of the great things about cardio as opposed to something like resistance training is it comes in an endless number of forms, fashions, and intensity levels. Everything from walking to sprinting to swimming to playing sports, doing fitness classes, things like that, all engage your heart and your lungs and are going to provide that cardiovascular stimulus that you need to get those heart and lungs to be stronger. So there's an endless variety of options. And ideally, you're going to be able to find something that you enjoy doing purely on the basis of the activity itself. For example, while I've never taken any real martial arts classes or things like that, I'm a big fan of mixed martial arts as a sport to watch. So something that I really like to do for extra cardiovascular exercise is I'll have to shadow box. There's tons of different boxing workouts on YouTube that I can look up, and I can just replicate those in the comfort of my own home, and it's great. And even while we're locked down and all of the gyms are unfortunately closed, there is still an opportunity to try out and switch between a number of different fitness class type versions of cardiovascular activity. YouTube is obviously an excellent resource. There's endless classes and things that have been recorded from actual gym facilities or by professionals that offer these things in gyms that can allow you to try these things out, whether it be, like I said, cardio kickboxing, Pilates, yoga, from the comfort of your own home. So you have the opportunity to experiment throughout a whole number of different things and find something you'll like. And eventually, I know it's tough to believe it right now, but the world will in some way reopen again. Gyms will open their doors. Team sports will continue to be part of the fabric of society. So further options are going to open up in the coming months. The great thing about a lot of these fitness classes is that, especially when you're looking at the content online, which is targeted oftentimes to beginners, there's going to be modifications to the various exercises or programs being given by the instructors, specifically to allow beginners to not overexert themselves. Because one of the keys to being successful with cardiovascular activity is the ability to do it consistently and not overextend yourself to the point where you have to take extended breaks. But here's the thing. Is anyone listening? I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Some people just don't like cardio very much. And that's just reality. Some people have difficulty finding a form of cardiovascular exercise that they connect with and enjoy on an inherent level, but still intellectually understand the importance and the benefits of some form of cardiovascular exercise in their life. And unfortunately for those people, if they do want to reap those health benefits that you get from cardiovascular exercise, including it into their day-to-day routine is less a function of motivation because you're excited to do an activity and more a function of discipline because you understand that this activity has benefits that are going to allow you to, for the rest of the time that you're alive and not doing cardio, be a happier, healthier version of yourself. So if you're going to be one of those people whose cardio habits are driven by discipline and intellectual understanding of the benefits of cardio as opposed to enjoying the activity, here are some tips. First of all, be realistic and choose something that's reasonable for your circumstances. Whether those circumstances be where you live, what your schedule is, what your general energy levels are like, any physical limitations that you may have in terms of injuries or chronic pain, things of that nature. Secondly, don't be afraid to start a little conservatively. The reality is that if we're coming from a completely sedentary lifestyle and we're starting to integrate cardiovascular activity into our life, but we're not necessarily enjoying the process always, the last thing you want to do is get off the couch, go into something that's incredibly high intensity, and then be dealing with not only the intensity that you felt in your heart and lungs being way more than you were prepared to deal with, but the reality is that your muscles have also been overly taxed by the process, and you're dealing with a tremendous amount of soreness for days following the exercise, because it's going to be a lot harder for you to get up the motivation to do that again if the expectation that you've set is that the following several days are going to be painful for you. The purpose of this cardiovascular exercise is to elevate your heart rate and force your heart and lungs to work harder than they would be doing otherwise. Any intensity level that sufficiently does that and causes you to have a noticeably elevated heart rate over what you would normally be experiencing in day-to-day life is enough stimulus to start the progress. Now, over time, your body is going to adapt to that baseline level of intensity, and if you want to continue improving your cardiovascular capacity, you are going to have to up the intensity, and there's a couple of ways to do that. You can do so in a linear sense, which would either be increasing the duration of the cardio that we're doing, or trying to do the same amount of cardiovascular work in a shorter period of time, which is to say increasing intensity or effort level. But you can also increase your intensity level through intervals, meaning that rather than increasing your baseline intensity a moderate amount for the entirety of your session, you can alternate throughout your session between low intensity periods of exertion, broken up by briefer periods of higher, closer to maximal output intensity. I'll use myself as an example for when intervals might be relevant to somebody. As I've said before, I'm an athlete, and as such, I have particular athletic performance goals that motivate my training. Because I have these athletic performance goals, it requires me to engage in cardiovascular exercise, most effective form for my ends being running. And here's the thing, I don't like running that much. Obviously, it's one thing within the context of my sport, but if you're just talking about pounding the pavement, putting those miles in, not my favorite way to use my time. I have a 4-kilometer loop that I do. I start at my home and it brings me back to my home in approximately half an hour. And then rather than just running at a steady pace for the entirety of the 4-kilometer loop, I use intervals. I will push myself hard and run the first kilometer in as fast of a pace as I realistically can maintain for the whole kilometer. Then I'll slow down and I'll actually walk for 1 kilometer. And then after I reach that, I push myself for the 3rd kilometer and then I walk it in home. It allows me to elevate my heart rate closer to my maximum output during the course of those 2 up intervals, and then it allows me to relax and recover and just enjoy the weather. And for me, there's a lot of benefits to that. It allows me to push myself closer to my maximum output level during the 2 kilometers that I'm pushing hard and actually running. But it makes it so that the majority of the time that I'm doing my loop, in terms of physical time spent, I'm actually just going on a nice, leisurely, relaxing walk around the area that I live. I get to get out of my apartment, I get to enjoy some fresh air, which, when we're all locked down is something that a lot of us aren't getting enough of, but I still get closer to my performance goals. And it's really easy for me to increase the intensity. I just try to keep running my 2 1-kilometer intervals at faster and faster paces. And eventually, if I find that I've peaked out on how fast I can run those 2-kilometer intervals, then I can extend the distance and the duration of the high intensity intervals. And then I can still plop that kilometer break in between the 2 and then walk that final kilometer home and still be able to spend the majority of the time that I'm out doing my cardio in a much more relaxing, enjoyable fashion. Cardio has a lot of positive benefits that it can bring into allowing us to be healthier, happier versions of ourselves. And the reality is, for most people who aren't dealing with athletic performance goals, is that you're going to hit a point where continuing to improve your maximum cardiovascular output is not going to continue to improve your day-to-day existence at the same rate, right? It's the law of diminishing returns. The higher that you keep pushing, the harder it is to continue to progress, and the less of an actual day-to-day result you're going to see. So most people are going to be able to find a comfortable intensity for their cardiovascular exercise that is going to allow them to maintain the level of cardiovascular health they need to make those day-to-day activities a lot easier than they are right now. And whether you have athletic performance goals or are just trying to improve your day-to-day existence, the key takeaway principle here is consistency. Figure out what it takes to get you to the level of cardiovascular health that you want, and then do it consistently. How consistently? However consistently you need to maintain the place you are now. That's all for this video. Thank you so much again for watching. If you want to know more about this channel, my introductory video will be linked in the description. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with somebody that you think might find it helpful as well. I've been Riley Evans. Please enjoy yourselves, stay safe during the lockdown, and go be a happier, healthier you. See you next time.